This is MGTOW 101 reporting from the Bad News Alley, the Bad News Laneway, and you know what the topic is going to be, something bad. Times are hitting hard here in Australia. Gotta hit the bottle. No, I'm gonna touch that shit, it's not mine. Anyway, this is the perfect scene to create the bad news from. And we have an interesting article today. Front page Herald Sun. This is done on a budget. So, Australia is the nation of the fatties. Almost 64% of adults are too heavy. Okay, so let's have a look what's going on. Australia's bulging waistline is continuing to expand, fueling a dangerous divide between obesity rates in the country and city. A whopping 11.2 million of Australians, which is 63.4% of the adult population, are now overweight and obese, according to the latest snapshot of the nation's health. In just 20 years, the number of overweight and obese Australians has jumped more than 12%, with the heaviest piling on weight fastest. The latest report from the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, an independent agency established by the federal government, shows Western Victoria as the nation's third fattest region, with 70.1% of its adults unhealthy large. And this all comes back to feminism again. You know, they're promoting this body positivity bullshit image. They're basically saying to people that, hey, it's okay to be fat and, you know, large and in charge, all that kind of crap, that women look sexy when they're fat and obese, and, you know, which is absolute nonsense. And this is what happens, you know, people take their advice and before you know it, 64% of Australia are obese or overweight. Anyway, let's continue. More than a third of adults in the region, which covers Geelong, Ballarat, Warrnambool and Horsham, are considered obese with a body mass index of 30 or greater. Excess weight is among the biggest health concerns in Australia, as it leads to heart disease and strokes. So feminism, not only is it cancer, it promotes cancer and it promotes heart disease and strokes. Being overweight or obese also raises the type 2 diabetes, sleep apnea, osteoarthritis, psychological problems, and is linked to increased chances of developing wide range of cancers, like I said before. Fucking making it hard. Institute spokesman Michael Frost said 68.5% of the regional Australians had an unhealthy weight compared with 60.7% of the city dwellers, and this has a firm pattern. Quote, people in regional areas are more likely to be overweight or obese than those in metropolitan areas, he said. Alright, let's turn page to 6. Hang on. This is like the best spot to do the fucking news. Check this out. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Only MGTOW 101 can record shit in this laneway. Fuck, anyway, shit. Alright. Let's continue. So, we're a nation of fatties. From page 1. The fattest areas of the country were all in regional Australia, including 4 which have more than 70% of their adult population with unhealthy weight. By contrast, the 5 least overweight areas are all in cities. Quote, overweight and obesity rates have increased nationally over recent decades to that very high level of 63.4% now, Mr. Frost said. Quote, the level of people being overweight but not obese has stayed about the same. It is really a growth in the proportion of the population over that time which is obese. End quote. Of Australia's 31 primary health networks, country South Australia has the nation's highest rates of overweight and obesity in the 2014-2015 analysis, with 73%. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull's home area of northern Sydney recorded the nation's lowest excess weight total, still a chunky 53%. So even in the least stricken region, more than half of its adults are overweight or obese. That's where all the rich people live, you know, the ones that have the cash, the money, and obviously they know what to eat and what not to eat, and they know that feminism is cancer. Mr. Frost added, I quote, "I cannot comment on what needs to be done or what approach needs to be taken, but we are putting those figures out there to allow local experts and healthcare workers to think about what response is needed. And of course, policy experts and government will have their own views on this." So, the camera went to shit. So what do you guys think about this article? What do you think is fueling Australia's obesity epidemic? Post your comments down below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe. Cheers.